Matt, how does it feel to go into the bye week strong and get a little bit of a rest before you go into your championship stretch?
Yeah, it's certainly unique having 2 bye weeks in the year. It's not something any of us have experienced, but it's kind of nice. Heading into the previous bye week was, we squeaked one out against North Carolina, and so that was definitely much needed, and I think this is really valuable for the team as well. Getting 2 weeks to prepare for South Carolina and just, getting the team healthy going down the stretch for the last couple games. So I think the guys are excited to have a weekend off and really recoup.
Matt, you had a chance to look at the film on South Carolina yet, their defensive line specifically?
I haven't watched much film this week yet. I do know that their defensive tackle, Kinlaw, is the real deal. I know he's played really well this year, and he was a great player last year too. I think he didn't necessarily get as much recognition, but he's a real tall guy, and that's not something that you see very often in D tackles. So he presents some unique challenges, but we just got to go out and play our game, and everything will take care of itself.
You've been here a couple of years. Being from Ohio, though, have you recognized this rivalry for what it is and see it in your teammates that have been here locally for years?
Absolutely, yeah. That was probably the biggest thing coming down here is I didn't really understand. I just had never been around it. I grew up around Ohio State, Michigan, and I was never a fan of either of those schools. But coming down here and really being immersed in it, it is a big deal, and it matters to a lot of people. And so, especially for the guys in the state of South Carolina, I think there's definitely a little different sense of urgency this week. And as a guy who's not from South Carolina, I think I kind of owe it to those guys to match their level of intensity. But it's a fun week, and Coach Swing has always said it's important to have a good rival, and we certainly have that. So I think we're excited for the game.
Did you make the trip to Columbia 2 years ago?
Not with the team, no. I came and watched the game in the stands, which was certainly a different perspective. But I did not make the trip. I was redshirted, and so I'm excited to be able to get on the field this year and play against them.
Can you kind of compare and contrast what you've seen, the atmosphere with the fans and around this rivalry as compared to growing up around Ohio State, Michigan's rivalry?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities. I mean, it's passionate fan bases all around. And that's what you want in big-time college football. Coach Swinney reminds us all the time how lucky we are to have a fan base like we do. And you watch film on some of the other schools, and they don't have packed stadiums, and that matters when you're a player. The energy of the crowd, you can really feed off of that. So I would say that's a big similarity between the two rivalries is just the passion that surrounds them. At Ohio State, they have their little things they do where they cross out all the M's on campus. So that's kind of what they do. I haven't necessarily seen something like that with our rivalry with South Carolina, but there's definitely some passion, and it's a good rivalry, so I'm excited to be a part of it.
What was it like sitting in the stands?
Like I said, it was a unique perspective. So, they have a cool atmosphere there, and all the area around the stadium is very nice. So it was neat to go, and that was my first time going to Columbia, so I've since been back. But it was a different perspective for sure.
Was it like the teammates with you?
Yes, I went down there with Blake Vincent. That's my roommate. So we were both redshirt at the time, and that's who I went down there with.
Did it give you a good idea of the tension or the hate between the two fan bases? I guess because as a player, you guys don't really get to experience that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was actually the year I think there was like some Coca-Cola bottles or something thrown, but that's what we always say. It's kind of crazy because it seems as though a lot of the fan bases have more hatred towards one another than the players. I think a lot of the players, especially at some of the bigger schools where we were all getting recruited to the same schools and we know each other, and there is a high level of mutual respect. We all go through very similar schedules. We all grind. We all work basically all year. And, some teams have certainly found more success, but a lot of the teams go through very, very similar schedules. So the mutual respect between players, I think, is something that would be nice to see in between fan bases just because, it is a game. And, we can all still be friends if you cheer for someone that wears a different color. But it was interesting to see, and like I said, it's a very passionate rivalry. So
was it solely Clemson people around you in the stands, or were you just kind of in a random part of the stadium that had a mixed group?
Yeah, I was with the Clemson fans. I had used one of my tickets, the will call tickets, so I was kind of with some of the other guys' families and stuff. So I didn't necessarily have much interaction with South Carolina fans, but just came to enjoy the game. And obviously, coming out the win is always something we're looking for. So.
When you speak to Gage Cervenka, what are his thoughts on the Gamecocks?
Man, Gage growing up, Coach Sweeney always reminds us, Gage, he was a lifelong Clemson fan. And like I said, for those guys in state, it does mean a little bit more. And I remember talking to Taylor Hearn, it was a big deal for him too. And so Gage being a fifth-year guy, leader on this team, you really want to go out there and perform well so he can have that pride in saying that he's never lost to South Carolina. And obviously we take pride in that too. But it just means a lot to him and his family, just growing up and really seeing the program in the stages when it wasn't a national title contender. And, being able to stick with it and see what it's become, I think is really special for guys like Gage that have been with it so long.
Is it going to be weird seeing Tavian over there wearing those colors?
Yeah, it is. It's, Tavian made the decision that he needed to make for himself, and it's certainly unorthodox. Hasn't happened very often before. I mean, Josh Bell kind of made the switch, but Tavian's a friend of mine, and it's all respect. So I'll be excited to see him after the game. And since we both play offense, won't necessarily get to go up against him in the game, but I hope he's doing well down there. So.
Matt, are there any, regrets or about the timing of the bye week? Simply because you guys have been rolling, and it seems like you're getting better week after week after week.
Yeah, I can see that perspective. I think there is something to say about momentum, and we have been playing really well on both sides of the ball and the special teams. Defensively, it's lights out, and Coach Venables does an amazing job, and the guys on defense really buy in, and same thing with the offense. Since that last bye week, the strides we've made are incredible, and we've really played together and really been able to put the throttle down on some teams. And so you do worry about that a little bit. I think you don't want to lose focus in the bye week, but I also think it's the benefits can outweigh the costs, and we can have a weekend to sit back. We're not in a hotel all day on Saturday, and the physical toll of the game isn't there either. So I think in the long run it's going to help that we did have it at this point. And we're hoping to play 3 games in the postseason, and that's the goal. So having the rest at this time of the season is pretty important.
Is it going to be any kind of an adjustment, because you go from 11 games in 12 weeks, a routine builds up, and now you've got, if you guys get to where you want to go, it's 4 games in 60 some odd days.
Yeah,
it's a little bit longer stretch.
It is an adjustment. Like I said, having the 2 bye weeks is different, and then the postseason schedule. This is my 3rd season, so I've done it twice before, and you kind of get used to how things are done. And then considering some of the bowl games have been moved up, so it is different, and just it's almost like I would equate it to spring ball. It's not quite fall camp. We're in the indoor a lot just because of the weather, but it is, it's an adjustment because you don't have that win or loss each week, and it's you go back to the basics on a lot of things. Some of the young guys get more reps, so it's really a developmental process for our team, and it's once school's out, then we're kind of back in the sub-arena, if you want to say that. So it's bowl season is something that's a little bit different than anything else, but I think that our track record and our win and loss in bowls shows that our process is effective. So
with Kinlaw, what is it that makes him so good, so touchdown?
He's got great hands. Like I said, he's long, and so being able to get that extension, get off blocks, is something that the elite D tackles can't do, and he does that. So it's exciting to play against a guy like that, because you know that he's going to get an opportunity at the next level and probably be drafted in the high rounds. So you just got to prepare with a purpose and really focus on the fundamentals, especially getting an extra week to prepare, having a couple extra practices where you're not wearing pads, and really focus on the technique. And he's an elite player, and sometimes you got to understand that you're not going to win every rep, but how do you respond if you do lose a rep? And as a unit, an offensive line unit, you can't let other guys get down or frustrated because you guys have to perform together. So I think we're all excited for the challenge, and he's certainly earned the respect that he's gotten. So.
You mentioned Blake. How tough was the injury on him, and how's he doing with his recovery and rehab?
He's doing well. Blake's a guy that loves being in the weight room. So as devastating as it was to have a season-ending injury, I think he's trying to make the most out of it. And that's been tough for Blake and me as well, just being with him for the past couple years, and he hasn't been able to catch a break with the injuries. And he's a guy that he is talented enough to do it, and he can be a starter on this team, absolutely. And unfortunately for him, it's, he's making progress, working his way up the depth chart, and then he's got a bad ankle sprain, and he's out a couple weeks. And now, most recently, it has been a bigger injury, which has held him out for a couple months. So that's tough, and mentally, it's nothing that you can control. And they always say control the things that you can control and don't worry about anything else, but that's a lot easier said than done. So, I've just been staying by his side and trying to keep his spirits up. He'll be hopefully ready for spring ball and get an opportunity. So that's all you can ask for.
All right, thanks, Matt. Tyler,
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Might you be able to get your skyline fixed the next week?
Actually, no. I got to go down to Charleston to see the old lady.
Oh, okay.
So those are yours, Jeff.